Hi, I'm CJ and this is my RC channel. In this series of videos, I'm going to be building this 1/28 scale racer. Technically, it's a Mini Z, but it is not a Kyosho car, so I'm not going to refer to it as a Mini Z. That's not really fair to them. It is a 1/28 scale race car. It is made by GL Racing, and it is legal to race in the Mini Z classes, depending on how you set it up. It can run in a variety of different classes, with the exception of the stock classes, because it is not a stock Mini Z car. Now it can be set up to run in a variety of wheelbases. I'm going to be setting it up for the most common, which is the 98 millimeter wheelbase with the wide front end, and the manuals can be printed. It doesn't come with a printed manual because of all the different optional setups that are available for it. I've printed out several, which you'll see during the build. Right off the bat, this is the standard assembly manual. I've thought about doing the LMP2 manual. I actually have this body. It is a it's very similar to the well, I'll just show you one. It's a Lexan version of this car, which is styled after the Le Mans prototype class body right here. It's styled after a Toyota car, and it's a beautiful body. The prototype classes are the fastest cars at Le Mans, either P1 or P2. And they are, one-of-a-kind vehicles. They're not styled after anything that is, a street vehicle, and that's why they're one-of-a-kind cars. And you can see the similarities in the design. There's a Lexan body that is very similar to this. It's the long wheelbase. It's the 102 millimeter wheelbase. That's the longest wheelbase that you can set up a Mini Z for. You can do it with either a stock Mini Z car, well, a Mini Z chassis, not necessarily stock, and the wide front end with the long wheelbase chassis, as you can see here, wide LM, and so, but I don't think I'm going to do that. I don't know how many people are racing the LMP2 long wheelbase cars at the tracks where I run. I know that the 98 wheelbase class will be racing in the modified cars, so I'm sure I'll be able to set up for this, and there'll be people at almost any day I go to the track. There'll be people running these cars, not necessarily the specific car, but there will be people with modified cars, if not GLs or Atomics, but they'll be running modified versions of the Kyosho chassis, with Lexan bodies or stock bodies, and they'll have modified motors. They'll be running non-standard battery types. They'll have pumped up motors. They'll have modified suspension, things like that, and they will be much faster than the standard cars, so it'll be a lot of fun. I've got plenty of stock cars to race as well. So when I go to the Mini Z races, I'll be bringing a handful of cars with me. And so whatever classes are running that day, I'll definitely have a car that, or two or three that I can throw down on the track and have a good time with. That's one of the nice things about Mini Z. And one of the nice things about having my own track at home is that I can, anytime I want to go, turn some laps, get some stick time, I can just go into my basement, pull out one of my cars, turn on the lap counter, and get some laps. And if you're fortunate enough to have a big basement or a garage with enough space, I highly recommend getting into Mini Z, setting up your own track. If you have a wife that will tolerate such things, or a family that will tolerate such things, being able to, a lot of people have the ability to set up a Mini Z track. It just takes a decent sized room and buying the track, the panels, and they're not that expensive. Depending on which size track you get, I highly recommend getting the 50 millimeter track. That's 50 millimeter panels. So you have a 100 millimeter wide track at the minimum. Otherwise, it's just too small. You're just not going to have any fun, and you certainly aren't going to want to run with, invite people over with the narrow track. It's just not a lot of fun. I'm actually doing the wider version, got the upgrade kit, so it's an extra set of panels. It'll widen the track out to 150. And I got the timing kit so that it comes with 4 transponders, and you plug it into a computer and set up the overhead bar, and that way you've got lap times, and that makes it a lot more fun to be able to invite some people over and have some racing. So anyway, back to the car. The GLR kits have a lot of modifications available already. Right off the bat, I went ahead and ordered this part. Almost everybody seems to be running it. It's GLGT OP006. It is a brass chassis plate. It seems kind of backwards to be taking a nice carbon fiber body plate and replacing it with a metal one. But that adds weight to the base of the vehicle, and lowers the center of gravity dramatically. And like I said, it seems to be the go-to piece that everybody does. In fact, a lot of people are replacing the fore and aft panels as well with brass, but the minimum is the center panel. So before even building the kit, I just went ahead and ordered that so that I would have it handy when I did the initial build. I'm just going to go right to that. I'll store the carbon fiber piece. Now, I'm going to do my best to show you as much of this assembly process as possible. I try to show you as much of my builds as I can. Unfortunately, these pieces are very, very small. This is my primary Mini Z toolkit right here. Very small wrenches and screwdrivers. The biggest Allen head is a 1.5 millimeter hex head, and then 3 different size screwdrivers and a 3.5 millimeter wrench, 4 millimeter wrench, and a 4.5 millimeter wrench is the biggest size nut that we have on these, and it's probably for wheels. This is going to be hard to see. I'm going to lay down a towel, number one, to help you see some contrast, because almost every part is black plastic, and also to help if things drop that they don't bounce off and away and make it hard to find them. And also to provide some contrast visually to help you see what's going on. I am also going to film this in 4K video and then try to zoom in when I'm in post-production, when I'm in editing mode, and try to get in as close as I can on the assembly shots. So if I leave stuff out, if I'm not able to show everything, I apologize. I would almost have to have cameras on little tripods right around me, and have them set up with some type of timing software. Sorry, I'm just not that camera savvy and don't have that much money invested into it to be able to do that for you at this time. Maybe in the future I can figure a way to get closer, better angles on some of the really close-up assembly, but I will do what I can for now. Let's see, there was something else I wanted to try to do. Anyway, that is, I'm just gonna have to live with what I've got for now. So oh yeah, this comes with the electronics. I ordered it that way. You can order it with or without. And that way you can choose your own servos and motor and receiver and whatnot. I may be swapping the servo. I'm building another Mini Z 1/28 scale car by Atomic, and I will show you that as well. It's their latest version. It's a belt-driven all-wheel drive, and excuse me, got a bit of a sore throat. For that one, I went and got this, I'm not sure if that's AOL, AOC, or AO7, or AOZ, or anyway, it's a programmable coreless servo, and I got the programming box or interface for it, and I really like the idea of I'm trying to move in that direction and where I can to be able to program the servos. A lot of kits it's not necessary. You center out the servo in subtrim and adjust your endpoints and in the transmitter software, and beyond that you really don't need a lot. But for cars like drift vehicles and these little guys, being able to program the servo might have some real benefits. So I got another one of the same servo to put into this car as well. So I'm gonna, instead of using the servo they provided with the kit, I'm gonna set that aside as a spare and put this servo in. It's A11 CLS V3 micro servo, and it's same thing on the back, micro programmable coreless digital servo. The specs on it right now are covered up by this giant sticker the company that sells it put over top. Anyway, you can look up the specs to your heart's delight online if you need to or want to. And for the body, I'm using a Biddy Design body. I've been become a fan of these guys. Not only do they make some really aesthetically pleasing bodies, they seem to be, good aerodynamic bodies. I've never had any problems with them. They seem to be light and yet, reasonably tear resistant. I've never had any other problems with them in any other capacity. So, and like I said, they tend to make beautiful bodies. So I really like their on-road bodies in particular. I just ordered another one for a drift car I'm putting together. This is their BDMZ-ETR Epton clear body 128 scale mini Z, and they specify 98 millimeter wheelbase, which is very nice that they provide that information right on the tag here, so you know exactly what you're building it up for. So I'll be putting on the window stickers and beginning the paint process for it. I'm not going to use the stock wing for this, however. I've got something special I found. They only had a couple left, and I bought out their stock. They had like 4 left. It's by Z Performance Parts. I think I found these on, I think I was on RC Mart. It's one of the Mini Z places that sells out of China, and they're a little expensive because of their shipping prices, but they are one of the best places to get parts for these cars. It is a adjustable rear wing. It's the first and only one I've ever seen. Let me see if I can, well, I'll just open it up for you. It's a Ziploc bag. I can close it. Let me give you the part number here. Let's see. It's made by Innovative Mini Z Parts, ZP08 version 2. And yes, believe it or not, these little cars are definitely affected by aerodynamics. Far more of a factor than most people are willing to believe. So you have one pivot hole and one slotted hole, and you put your wing in here, you screw in your 2 pivot screws, and then you can adjust the wing angle and test and adjust and test. And that is a really neat thing to have. I've never had that before on a Mini Z car. And that's going to be a really fun thing to tinker with, because it's going to be one of those things when the cars, you've got good fresh tires, you've gotten them ground nice and set up, and everything looks good, and the car just wants to loop in turns, and you add wing until it starts biting in the rear, and situations like that, it's going to be very interesting to play with and see what you get out of it. So Actually, I'm going to put this tag back in the bag in case I need to reorder it at some point. I'll have that information. Sorry, some people say I talk too much. Every once in a while I get that comment from people. Other people disagree. They're happy to get the information. It depends. So, forward with the assembly. You know, and if you do think I talk too much, there's a little button that allows you to change the speed at which the video plays. You can always accelerate the video and fast forward. This is a handy little item. It has its own little freestanding thing. It's even got a little light, a couple LEDs that may come in handy. This is particular. I've never really used this except on some other wood kits where I was working with very small parts. This may come in handy on this kit, though. We'll see. I also got some other extra parts from GL that are supposed to be relevant to this kit. Specifically, long spring set here. This is central springs. This is an optional spring set for the CL. Again, another set of springs. Pinion gears, and a screw kit. I don't remember if these are titanium. They might be, I'm not sure. But I went ahead and grabbed them. I figured at the very least, if I lost any of these little screws at the track or something, I would have extra screws. It wasn't expensive terribly, so that makes me kind of doubt that it was titanium, but at least I knew that I would have extras. And of course, having a variety of springs for tuning is always a good thing. So let's set aside the directions I do not need at the moment. And let's go into the general build. Let's see. Don't need that. Let's see if I'm going to need any of these. I don't think I have the sway bar. I'm not sure if it's in here. Body mount with shall post. I guess that's shallow. Just a moment. Let's see. Side damper. Okay, rear shell post for the 98 millimeter to 102. Okay, I'll probably need that. I'll have to make sure those parts are in here, and if they're not, I'll have to order it. Okay, let's start here. Okay, I think what I should do first is go through all of these parts trees, trim all the pieces, clean up any flashing, and get them out and organized and ready to go so I can get started here on page 5. So I'm going to go ahead and pause the video and come back at you. Okay, so I have trimmed parts, everything except these little guys here. It's kind of interesting the way they have these on the tree. They've got a little cutaway here, so you could stick the rod in there and twist it on while it's on the tree. It might make the assembly process easier, and then cut it free once you've screwed the rod in place. It's the only reason I can think that they've put that in place. So I'm going to go ahead and leave these 6 pieces on the tree. I cut 2 of them off and then I noticed that. So I'm going to see how that goes and give it a try. And if it doesn't work or it's a pain, I'll go ahead and cut them off. But we'll see what happens as I build. Now, I highly recommend laying all these pieces out, all these bags, because they're all numbered by size, and they're all, there's rhyme to their reason. So, you've got like 3 screws in this bag and 5 screws in this bag, and even the washers are separated. Some of them are probably shims, not washers, and they're separated again by size. Some of them may even be the same size, but they're separating them so you've got them in specific quantities for where they're going to want you to use them. Likewise with the screws, they may have similar screws or not. They may all be unique, whatever, but I would leave them in the bags until you need them at that moment. It's very well organized. I love the way they've done this. And I'd be very careful to make sure that you don't switch things around, because I think that their tolerances are going to be very close on things. You could go through a piece of plastic and really screw up the model. So let's see. I mean, we've got some very small pieces, the little connecting rods, everything is just itty bitty. Normally with a like a 1/10 kit, I'll swap things around. I'll use different hardware and things like that. With this kit, I'm going by the book until I really get to know it. No modifications or tweaking things. And then I'll do tweaks and modifications later on. But for right now, I need to get to know the car. So, the rear cage is very nicely molded out of aluminum. It's probably CNC cut. Beautiful piece. And they give us a couple of axle pieces here that will allow us to flip them upside down, and there's 2 pairs so we can move our axle up or down, and have 4 different positions possible for rear axle height. Nice thing about the servo here, this servo that I'm adding, it comes with an adapter wire that lets you plug it into a standard servo. So I can use this with a standard servo tester and you know, do my usual centering testing and center it out to make sure that it's ready to go before I install it. So it's almost 2 in the morning and I am starving, and my wife is up late as well, so I just ordered the two of us some snacks from IHOP. We're gonna have a little late night breakfast.